Welcome to your second to last week of English 201. It is the week of Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys have something special planned. Oh, there goes my dog. I think that's the second video you've had the opportunity to see her walk by. I hope you have something special planned for the holiday. It's kind of a bummer that we have to do some English work during the holiday week, but we do what we must. For this module, we'll have a number of small assignments as we normally do in the modules, but the main focus of this week will be drafting your third and final essay. So this is a pretty important essay because it's worth 350 points and it's much longer than the other essays that we have written so far. For this essay, what I would like for you to do, rather than reinventing the wheel and writing something brand new, I would like for you to take essay 2 and expand it into a larger 6 to 8 page paper. So we originally were working with 3 to 4 pages. Now we're moving to 6 to 8 pages. So we're talking double the length. So what that means is you have to add in more information. And there's a couple ways you can do this. One, I invite you to look back to essay 1 and look at that informative paper that you wrote and decide what of that information can you include into this new essay. Because sometimes when we are writing short essays, we have to kind of pick and choose what we put in there, right? So for essay 2, you only had 3 to 4 pages, so you couldn't put every single thing you wanted in the essay. But now with a little more space, you can actually include a little more backstory. So you can use some of that informative essay and some of that informative information, a little redundancy in my language there, but some of that information and put it into your final essay, especially if it helps lay the groundwork or the frame of the content. Because if you remember when we talked about structure, it's important to make sure that your reader knows the background. So the informative essay that you wrote can help you include a little more background. With that said, I don't want to see any copying and pasting and you just throwing in essay 1 into your final essay, but you can call upon that information and rework it into that essay. So that's one way that you can add a little length to your paper. But more importantly than that, when you move into the body of your essay, into really the heart of it, I'd like for you to first expand what you already have. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to say on the entire video. Expand what you already have. So if you go back and review your thesis statement, I would like for you to add in more points that support that thesis statement. One of the best ways to do that is by looking at your body paragraphs, seeing where you can separate them and expand. Because often we have more to say in the body paragraphs than what we have space for. So you can go into the paragraphs that you already have, see if there's a place where you can divide them into 2, and then expand them into greater, larger paragraphs. So first, expand what you already have. Add into the thesis that already exists. Once you do that and you feel that you've exhausted that information, if you have something else that you think you need to add, or if you're still searching for a way to expand, then it's fine for you to begin adding some information into, some new information into your paper. That might even change your thesis statement. So if you had just point X to start with, you expand about point X and give as much information as you can. Then you can go into your thesis and add a new point, point Y, and work that into your essay. But again, I would much, much rather you expand what you already have rather than adding something new. So maybe to make this more tangible in a really sort of rudimentary example, let's say that you're writing about apples and your whole essay is about the health benefits of apples. So first I would want you to go into your essay and add in as much as you can about the health benefits of apples. But then let's say you've like, oh man, I've written every single thing that there is ever to say about the health benefits of apples. You can go back into your thesis and say, I'm writing about apples and oranges. And then you can include information about the health benefits of oranges. So that's sort of what I mean about adding to your thesis statement. But again, I can't stress enough, before you add to your thesis statement, I want you to work within what you already have. Most of you had topics that are pretty substantial and you are writing about a small portion of it. And I even asked some of you to hone that in a little bit more. So there's a lot to be said about most of your topics. So I don't think it'll be necessary for many of you to really add in points to your thesis statement. If you're not sure if you need to, you can always reach out and ask, but 9 times out of 10, I feel like I've been saying this for 5 minutes because I really am stressing it. Just add to what you already have. The smaller our thesis statement, with the most information, the better off we are, because then we're really giving some substance, and our argument becomes very potent because it's full of information. So it's important to keep that thesis narrow so we can give a lot with it. On the flip side, if you have a really broad thesis statement and you're writing about apples, oranges, bananas, and kiwi, and star fruit, and all these other papaya, whatever. I do not like papaya. Don't write about papaya. Papaya smells bad to me. If you're writing about all these other fruits, right, then you're writing just a little bit about each one. So you're not giving your reader any real substance to your argument. So that's sort of what I mean. Keep it focused, keep it narrow, and give as much information as you can about that. In addition to your essay, I do expect you to have more research. So if your first essay was 3 to 4 pages, you probably had a few sources, maybe 3, 5, everyone was kind of different. But with your 6 to 8 page essay, I expect you to have more resources because you're giving me more information. So now you have to have more research. I don't have a number of resources that you should be using. You should use as many as you need to support your argument. Everyone's will be very different. Some people, 4 to 6 resources will be plenty. Other people will need 10 or more. So I don't really want to put a number on it. I don't like to sort of pigeonhole you into these expectations. I want you to do what you need to do to write the best paper you possibly can. So no specific number of sources, however, make sure that you have additional sources. When it comes to reworking an essay, I really want to emphasize that I don't want to see the same first 3 pages that you wrote in essay 2. I really want you to work within the essay. So breaking paragraphs apart, adding new paragraphs in, reworking your intro, reworking your conclusion, integrating all of that new research into your essay really seamlessly. So please, for your own benefit, do not copy and paste the first 3 pages of your original short essay and then add on 3 or 4 more pages to the end. That is not expanding. That is just tacking on a bunch of stuff at the end and calling it a paper. I truly want you to look at your essays and see where you can rework, revise, and add new information. It's a little easier said than done. It can be kind of tricky because when we turned in essay 2, most of us probably thought, done. I don't have anything left to say. But we're not done, right? Writing is never done. You can finish an essay, turn it in, and then look at it in 2 years and be like, oh man, I gotta work on this thing again. Writing, it's never finished, which is sort of frustrating for some students, right? That the job is never done. But it's kind of nice because it allows us the opportunity to see how our ideas can grow and expand over time, that we're not always just stuck in this one way of thinking. So please truly expand your essay. I will post the assignment sheet and the rubric on Blackboard for you to look at, but please note the rubric is essentially the same. The only thing that's changing is the point value on the rubric. Essay 1 and Essay 2 were worth individually 180 points. This one is worth 350. So this is 35% of your grade. It's a pretty big deal. The directions for this will be on Blackboard, but same old, same old. You'll post it to your peer review board, give each other some feedback, and go from there. This week, I'm just expecting the draft. Next week will be the final version of your essay because it will be our last week together. So that is that for now. I will talk to you if you have any questions. Remember, if you do not answer questions, I am under the assumption that you are fully aware and understanding everything in the course. So if you have questions, ask them. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you have a great holiday, and we'll talk soon.